Assets in Arbitrage on this beautiful Wednesday, May 22nd, 2024. We're going to have a little bit of a different show today. Our queen mother and my beautiful wife, Erin Simon, is out with an illness. Her voice can't handle it, so she's been nursing her voice back to health. A little raspy now. It's got to the point where it's gone. So, we will be doing this one solo today. So I'll wait till a couple people get in the room. But definitely, as we start this one off, the same way as I was doing, stacking your sats, stacking your ounces, and anything else you may be financially invested in. It's been a good week for silver, so I guess everybody, we are happy in this space. Other than that, it's been a slow week. There's a couple of news articles I came over, and I'll probably go over those maybe on Saturday. I'm looking to speak for a couple more things to my brother, Let Freedom Ring. Yes, I came across that article, or a article, speaking about BRICS and CBDC currency they may be having and coming from the Iranian Prime Minister. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was if you know, you know. Sorry, excuse me. If you know, you know. So I caught that article. It's pretty interesting. There's a lot going on over there in that side of the world, especially with BRICS and all the maneuvering that you can see. This is maneuvering out in the public here, and imagine how much maneuvering is going on that we cannot see. So that's always something to keep an eye on. So peace, fam. Courtney Johnson, peace. Yeah, not much else going on in the news cycle. A couple other things, charts about silver and outlook to the end of 2024 Q4. So they look positive. Like I said, I won't bore you guys with that chart, but if there's anything I think that's important, then we'll break the chart out. So, we broke some charts out last week that were pretty impressive. So I keep my eye on charts that may show something that might be important in movement, or just so you could be aware of what is going on. That. Let's see what else. Oh boy. The evening time was good. Yes, thank you, sir. It's been a while since we've seen you. But it's great to see you. Other than that, I've been reading some other stories that, that kind of rubbed me wrong today. So that's what I was going to go over this talking about a few things. It's always going to go back to Bitcoin, but still, I wanted to get into some stuff that's been rubbing me. Hello, Michelle. How are you doing, Michelle? All right, how are you doing? And man, some stuff that rubs me wrong. And I would really like if you guys in my room just to see your thoughts and things like that, to see how you feel. If it's something I'm here now, back, but yeah, thank you. See what your thoughts are on it. Other than that, that's a few people in the room. It's the thing that people might be busy with that. Let's see what happens. So here's what I want to talk about. Something that I keep hearing in different spaces as I go through social media. And I'm not here to bang on anybody or any ideology, but I will talk about this. So I see some feminist groups or some feminist posts, right? And then what you see like these rogue feminist groups, right? They're like, they take it to the fullest. So I came across a post, and there's a young woman. She was giving something that she knew about the feminist movement. Not saying that she's a feminist, she was just explaining it. And basically what she was explaining is she was saying, in the future, you will see less men being born, less male being born. Because the way the thought pattern maybe of not having children, focusing on a career. And this will lead to less males being born. And then what they were saying is, then it's getting so radicalized to the point where you got pockets of them saying, "What are men even good for?" So, um, so then that's the radicalized part of it. I'm not talking about the core part of feminism and the feminist group. I'm talking about this is radicalized, and they're asking, "What is men? What are men even for? Why do we even need them?" And this is like a thread in the talking points. And I said, so I'm reading through it. I said, man, it's really groups of people out here who feel like this. And so then what it becomes to is it fills up a few things because of what you were saying, you'll see less men born. But we had talked about this. Shout out to Steinfeld and shout out to T. Will Line. Yeah, you'll see less men born, but we talked about this in the Western world, below replacement, which is essentially people are dying faster than they're being born. And that's really a big problem with the white community. And so, yes, you will see less men being born because it's below replacement. And below replacement is something that takes uh, decades and decades and decades to turn around. It's not like something you can turn around right now and get it going and get your numbers back up. This is something that takes a long, long time. And so no, we're going to go into this because we have to talk about what is going on. Background. Yes, sir. Background track. Let me go over here. Give me one moment. I may have to turn the lights on and start getting dark over here. One moment. All right, family. Sorry about that. I got the lighting better so we can see what's up. Oh, yeah, we do got plan. I was trying something different. But yeah, so low replacement. They're saying less males will be born. So here's what comes down. This concept of poor. And so I don't like that concept. So then it really gets into things about what I call people who have jobs that undergird the country, I'm like the United States. And these are dirty jobs. These are hard jobs. These are what people would call blue collar jobs. And the reason I bring this up because as we all are in this Bitcoin space, which is really technology, invest in cryptocurrency, all technology, and we talk about different things, from investing in Bitcoin, dollar cost averaging. So sometimes people actually get deep into use case and different cryptocurrencies. Really all technology based things, and it goes away from kind of shies away from blue collar. And what happens is not only is there not enough males being born, males who are being born and grow up, they kind of shy away from these jobs that I'm speaking of. People grow up in high school, everybody wants to start a kind of web-based business, anything, some kind of cryptocurrency business, things like that, instead of going to be, I don't know, an electrician, HVAC technician, firefighter, things like this. These jobs that are very hard, very strenuous. And you read articles that there are a lack in these places. That all over you see that there's a lack of firefighters around the country because what's happening, a lot of firefighters, as time goes on, they have to retire. And now you need somebody to replace the group that left. But people do not want to be firefighters at the age of 21. And that's not really the thing. You grew up as a little kid that was kind of cool to want to be a firefighter. I'm just using that as an example. They are there's a need for pilots. Now, being a pilot is very hard. It can be strenuous as far as the training, and then the book training is very strenuous. I believe you have an engineer to be a pilot. Just fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure you have to be an aeronautical engineer. So that's not easy. That's not an easy discipline. So you need pilots. The pilots average pay, as I went over last week, is $225,000 per year. That's as a pilot. So nobody wants to be a pilot. I guess it's boring. It's flying back and forth. It's boring. And I wouldn't consider a pilot a blue collar job, but other jobs like, I don't know. People who work for the electric company, doing lines, fiber optics, construction, outright construction. Oh, that's interesting. You think so? Well, that's interesting. If you talk about bodies. Well, yeah, they'll be squeezing everybody out, and there will be no work to be done. But even as we see it now, I watched a video on a young man who's a truck driver talking about the ability to meet women because of his schedule. You go on for a week at a time and things like that. But that's a tough job, truck driver. And you see a lot of truck drivers. You're on the highway, everything. Most of the stuff that gets transported in the United States still is transported by truck. And people are surprised about that. They think it's airplanes or maybe even the railway. No, it's trucks. That's how stuff gets from one side of the country to the other. That's an important job, very important job. And I can name one, go on and on and on. The most important jobs are people who work the power grid, right? Because if the power grid goes down, everything we're doing is half. So you need that power grid up and running at all times. Not only for just us getting internet, but just for different things like banking. If banking is down, and things like that. So you need that power grid. You need people servicing that power grid. And that power grid will always be, I would say, 99 worked by men, right? These are men who are invisible to people who work tech jobs or corporate jobs. You can't see these guys when they walk around during the day. You wouldn't even know, this guy works on the power grid and important stuff that he does every day to your life. I always give respect to them. The things that they do are very, very important. And sometimes we get away from those type of jobs, sexy to be an entrepreneur, own boss, have your own business. Nothing wrong with that. But sometimes you need a portion of the society to go do the job that keeps society running. Like you all know, driving down the highway, traffic backed up, construction. Everybody's annoyed, everybody's mad, beeping their horns and stuff like that. But, sometime later, you notice, oh man, the highway is real smooth. I got a nice easy ride on the highway. But it did your job. Now, what it was annoying. It took some time, took some of your time. But in the end, you got a job because if they don't do it, then your highway gets worse and worse. When I lived up north in Ohio, another important blue-collar job, when winter came, you had the men who came and pre-salted roads. You got a winter storm coming, big silo of salt. You see it off the highway when you drive by. Hello, family, Let Freedom Ring. I just shouted you out. Let Freedom Ring. Shout out to you. And you can see them working all through the night. They're working all overnight, all over the city, pre-salting the roads. In the morning, when that storm kind of hit, the roads be drivable, right? Now, snow get to be too much. They salt can only be from. But because the people who are going to work early in the morning won't be slipping inside with action. These men stayed up prepared all night. And I watched another off documentary, and what they actually do is they prepare a weekend before, because meteorologists can kind of tell when the storm's coming and when it might hit. They're preparing. They're getting extra salt. They're getting extra guys. They're getting temporary guys, and then getting everybody to work overtime. And this is very, very important, but it goes unseen, and everybody else just goes about their day. And I always take time when I get the chance, just to salute a blue collar worker if I see him when I'm out and about, maybe shake his hand or give him fist pound, to say what's up. Like I see you out here, putting in that work, because it is hard work, and some of it is well paid, and there's some blue collar workers who are very well paid, and then some who aren't, and it's just it's hit or miss, but they should all be respected nonetheless. And one of the most important blue collar workers you're gonna have is the sanitation workers, because you can't let garbage pile up. That thing, you got to come get it once a week, some places twice a week, depending on where you live. And that's very vital, because if you miss 2-3 weeks of sanitation pickup, the people are going to be clamoring. They want to know what's happening there and everything. That's why sanitation workers in New York City and probably other cities aren't allowed to, they're not allowed to, what's the word I'm looking for? They're not allowed to strike. Yeah, they're not allowed to strike. They have a union, and if they have a union negotiation, one of their tactics of striking is not allowed. And other unions can strike sometimes, but they are not allowed to strike. And they are most vital in our everyday world, where people don't really think twice about it. Now, back in the day, when I was growing up, it really hard, quote unquote, garbage. The same person came by, and wave at him, say how you doing, this, that, third. When I was older, my first son, eldest son, he used to love the garbage truck. You could hear it coming down the street. He'd go to the window and look. He loved the garbage truck. And so then, I would take him outside, and he would watch the garbage, and he would say hi, he would shake her hand and stuff. He loved it. He had that window. Like that, all right, let's go. And so, show him some love and things. Like, I know Erin, her father, she told me about her father. They used to take gifts, Christmas gifts, or maybe cash gifts to fire department. Just show love there, to give to transportation. So, take it. Okay, yeah. So you give to the mailman, because back then you knew you sent mail carriers every day. You know who they were, and you invite them in for some coffee or something like that. And so that person, postal workers, they're a great person. They're a great blue collar. And then you definitely need that. And in the age, you need people delivering. You guys on Amazon all the time. I know it. So you need somebody to bring that Amazon box same day, maybe next day. You need it to come, deliver it. There's no damage and all this. And so those people are very important. So now, why is all this important? Number one, if you are below replacement and you have less men being born, then you have less men to do the job that men do. And then that's what you're having. You're in the middle of collapsing society, because there are no enough men to work jobs that keep society going. And you can see this in small places. I've brought this up before, but a place called Locarno, Italy. Locarno, Italy, they were offering cash euros, 10,000 euros to come over to you. You had between 21 and 40, and you had to have a child. And what they were doing is they were trying to replace their dying society. Because the majority of the society were elderly, and the rest of the majority were children. They didn't have enough to fulfill, like work jobs, run businesses, things like that. And so they were offering money, because the society was lacking. There's not enough people to do the job. And that's what I said, the society was lacking. You don't have people to sanitation, do these things, drive buses, all this little stuff that people don't pay attention to on a day-to-day basis. But if you start having uh, all these job openings that either nobody wants or there's not enough people, when you see somebody viable collapse. And that part. And then there's a second part to it that annoys me. And this part where I don't know who started this. I think I may know who started this. But then there was this clamoring all of a sudden that we need a man to make at least 6 figures. And then this became this plan. And high value men and whatnot, as they are called. And so then that turned like a whole generation that seemed like of women who were going to turn their nose down on blue collar workers and look for some guy, and I don't know, a lawyer, doctor, what else? Dentist. But yeah, and then looking for people like that who have who appear to have command high salaries. And to me, that's important because a lot of these guys who are blue collar workers, when you look at it, they end up working their job, about 30, 35 years, end up with a great retirement, great benefits, and they get to live the rest of their life, and the way they want. And that's just by retiring from UPS. You can retire from anywhere that's unionized. You get great benefits, great health benefits, great retirement package. You don't even know. See, my problem with that was people. First of all, I don't think it's like that. It's one thing if you eyeball somebody and tell how much money they make of the record, like better job and that. And other things, you just outright ask them like how much money they make. I think what's up, family? What's up, Jake Fever? And Dump Out Girls, what's up? What's up? I ain't seen y'all in a while either. And it's just not cool to ask somebody like in the Bitcoin community, it's not cool. You don't ask somebody how much Bitcoin you got. Man, what kind of stuff is that, man? You see somebody ask you how much Bitcoin you got, oh man, this person ain't no real Bitcoin. That's just common knowledge. You don't do that. That ain't cool. And so, and these people get looked down on, I would say, as if they aren't as important to society as any other job. Y'all come together for a reason and so the society. But yeah, that whole notion, I guess it's still out there at least 6 figures. And I did a show maybe 2 weeks ago about what $100,000 gets you in about 25 different U.S. cities and how much you spend. So you'll get $100,000 if you're going to spend like this. And the highest one you got, there was no parity at all. There was no 100,000 spends as 100,000. Not in any city. The highest you got was El Paso, Texas, and $100,000 spent like $88,000. So $100,000 mark, it's just a number. If you change the number, they don't even know what the number means. Because I can't remember all of them off the top of my head, but if I can run them back down if I still had the article here. Let me see who's in here. Music is coupled too loud. Is it the music too loud? Okay, let me hit it down. I was trying something new. I was bored when I was sitting here. Okay, my bad. It was dope though. Some dope music, man. Some nice beats. Alchemist beats. Let me see who else is in here. Sorry, guys. Boom, boom, boom. The music is a couple of we are in the building. Yes, you are. You're in the building. Thank you for being here. Only 24% of men make 100,000 per year. That's all American men. Then when you talk about black men, the number goes down drastically. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And that's and like I said, it depends on where you make the 100,000 because places like San Francisco, I think it was below 50,000. Definitely rate close to 50,000 in DC, DMV area. New York, it was down like about 39,000. So if you had $100,000, it actually spent like 39,000. So I got to do the math. If I just at 2.5 times, so you have to make almost $250,000 for it to spend like 100,000. If I did my math right, I was on the fly. But you definitely got to make at least over $200,000 for it to spend like $100,000 in Manhattan. And this could go on in other places. There's some places in Ohio, like Cleveland, where it spends like 70,000. And but this notion of $100,000 is, it's just a number, but it doesn't mean anything, and unless you know the context to it. So that's what we talk about, the arbitrage part of it. Because say there are a lot of work from home jobs that pay, very well, especially in this time after the pandemic. A lot of places have had their employees work from home, and they get paid a lot, and it is not necessary for them to live in the city um, where the company is. So that's where the arbitrage is, where you see a lot of people moving abroad. They're saying, hey, well, if I can make this in dollars, so let's say if I can make $100,000 working from home, and I can find a place like it's a lot cheaper than the United States, and you go over there, then you get the reverse of your dollars spending less, and you get it spending more, right? So if you come to, I don't know what places a lot of people going now. For example, if you went to a place like, I would say Costa Rica, um, a place like Panama. I'll use Panama right now. Panama City is a beautiful city, but when you live in the city, you're gonna pay more price. You're gonna pay more. So you get outside of the city, you get more to a rural area, maybe a suburban area. And here is where your $100,000 might spend like 200. So now you got the real flip on it, like, oh, the 100,000 really means something. Or you come to a place like Mexico. A lot of people come to Mexico, and you get to the outskirts, major cities, Monterrey, Mexico City, Guadalajara, which I wouldn't recommend Guadalajara, but those cities are going to be expensive. If you get out a little bit into some other smaller cities, but you still have the same, access to a big city, like a place like Cuernavaca, where we spend a lot of time. You'll get a nice arbitrage on your money. So you make that 100,000, you work from there, and it spends like 250,000, right? And that's the arbitrage that we're talking about. Now, if you make $100,000 and you have to be on site and things like that, then you got to be on site. So then there's that. But with these new jobs coming up and these new younger people coming up, and they don't need to be on site, and maybe they got to show up quarterly, right? So that's the cost of being in the game. So if you move to Mexico and you got to show up every quarter, for a week or so, meet up, meetings and things like that, it's no big deal, a little travel, and then you come back. And this is the arbitrage, and this all goes on all around the world. A lot of people like to go over there to Asia because there's a lot of places, Kuala Lumpur, um, where you can get great arbitrage. I see a lot of brothers and sisters going to Vietnam. So I watched a short documentary on black people in Vietnam, and they seem to like it. They seem to like it out there. And it's pretty cool. It has a very low, what would you call it? Average age of citizens. So it's a lot of young people. So it's the life is kind of vibrant, and it's like hustle and bustle. And so it attracts young people. It attracts them. It has nightlife if that's something that you're into. And a lot of young people are into nightlife. Now if you're older like me and you got a whole bunch of kids and stuff, you're just not into nightlife. You just want something quiet. You want your space and all that. And so if and you can find either or and everything in between. It's a big world out there. And like I tell people, all you gotta do is go on YouTube and type in living in, and you put in the country, and it'll be a whole bunch of bloggers. And you can just they'll walk you through places, tell you how much stuff costs, what you can do, show you different accommodations you can have. And it's really, it's really good because they do a really good job of it. And so that's where you can flip your 100,000. 100,000. You can flip 80,000. You can flip whatever number you got and take it to another country and let it spin like double or triple. Now, when the dollar was up, what it was doing, it was up at like here in Mexico, 1 to 25. Your money was spending like 5x. So if you made 100,000, it was spending like 500,000 because things here are so cheap, especially if you buy things um, of the country. You don't buy things that have been imported. You're gonna pay a little bit more. You try to go get an iPhone, man, it's gonna cost you a grip. You might as well go 5x to the United States and buy an iPhone. But I mean, like local stuff. You know how you guys go to Whole Foods and they're taxing on stuff like cucumbers and tomatoes and cantaloupes and all this stuff. Man, this stuff is cheap. You get up out of here, you got a whole big bag of fruit for 80 pesos, which is about $4. And you don't have to have a Whole Foods and just pay that overprice for getting some natural foods. You get this here straight from the farmers market every day. You get fresh chicken straight from the farmers market every day. When I got here, chickens was looking scrawny because I was looking used to those big bowling ball turkey looking chickens we used to have. And then yeah, so you get fresh killed chickens every day. No antibiotics, nothing like that. And health. There's a health component to it where there's arbitrage, where things are just healthier. There are no real fast food restaurants in the town we live in. It's all mostly local mom and pops, and then you got a few nice dining out restaurants. If you want to take your family out or your wife out, then, you have that. And then we drive up to Toluca. It's about 45-minute drive, and then you have your things up there that you need: your Home Depots, your WalMarts, Costco. You have some restaurants. You got Kentucky Fried Chicken, Burger King, all that stuff. All that stuff. We don't eat that, but every now and then the kids get a pizza or something from Little Caesars. And you go up there, you get a pizza from Little Caesars. Office Depot. We can go to Office Depot, right? Tino, we went to Office Depot and we got we got our iPads fixed and we bought a new office chair. What else did we buy from Office Depot? Some little stuff for Aaron, some desks, some pens and stuff like that. So we got all that up the road, and then we come back down to the rural spot with the land and the cow, the sheep, and I think it's a ram or a goat. I don't know. I leave that to the shepherd. And the shepherd, that's a blue collar job. It's definitely an important job because I'm not getting out there with the animals like that. I get out there a little bit, but I don't know how to herd them. He know how to move them around. They just go where he say, and it's pretty cool to watch actually. That at one time, this is just a little off story. One time, they were coming back and they were taking them back to what do you call that? To the pen, I guess. To the pen, and then there was a sheep just standing on our porch. And it was just staring. They called me dad because the sheep was staring at them and they was scared. I was like, why are you gonna be scared of a sheep? So I come down the stairs and the sheep is just staring on the porch, staring and not moving, not going anywhere, just staring. And then the lady, it was a female shepherd, she came, ran up the hill, and then she went and she just picked the sheep up and carried it back down. So I don't know. Aaron told me that sheep don't move when they're taught to be herded by the shepherd. That if the shepherd's not there, they kind of just stand in place. And I said, man, that's kind of creepy. It was creepy. The sheep was just staring at us and like, what's going to happen now? Nah. Yeah, there you go. Jump out, girls. Food coming from Mexico at a very cheap price. It's sold at Whole Foods. I'm sure their profit margin is incredible, especially on things like tomatoes and what else would you say? What's the stuff here we get for dirt cheap? I'm trying to think. Hmm? Yeah, avocados. Oh, they must be making a killing on avocados. Avocados don't cost anything here, and I know they cost a lot in the United States, and they got to be making a killing on there. The first house we ever lived in, when we first moved to Mexico, very nice house, look, 2-story, 3-bedroom, 2 bath. It was like a nice starter home in Mexico, but it had a nice pool, so the kids like that. So that made it was nice, and it had nice land, and it was gated. It was real cool. But the thing about it, it had 3 avocado trees in the backyard. And they just avocados everywhere, just falling, just falling, just falling. And the guy who was like the caretaker of, he was the caretaker of the spot. He was to come collect the avocados, and he would take them to market to sell. But he would come give us a whole bunch of avocados. And so, we got to the point we had so many avocados, like I didn't know what to do with the avocados. Like I didn't know what to make with avocados, so I would make them like put them on toast, and I didn't know how to make guacamole and nothing like that. And I was just getting overran by avocados, and the kids didn't want to eat them. And I said I had a surplus of avocados to sit here. I didn't know what to do with them, so I started giving them away. And that's how avocados flow free here. And you go to Whole Foods, I'm sure they cost. Hit me in the chat if you know. Tell me what I don't know a pound of avocados cost. I would be surprised. I would be surprised to know. Whole paycheck. Mangoes, bananas. Yeah. Oh yeah, mangoes, man. We get mangoes for cheap here, and bananas, and what's that? Yeah, yeah. Mangoes and bananas are very, very cheap. So are pineapples. So are watermelon. And they got their own fruit that I don't think they probably send. I mean, I don't know if you guys have papaya. Papaya is very cheap here. It's almost like they're giving it away. I don't know if they send papaya to Whole Foods or if that's anything people eat in the United States. But yeah, that and so there's a health component of it, right? You go somewhere, you flip your money, you double it, and you get healthier, right? You get healthier by just by the food that you have to eat, and it's in a place here. I don't know where certain people live, but I know where I lived in the United States. And what we say, we got over 300 days of summer, not summer, 300 days of sun per year. And I remember living in Ohio, and I knew, my favorite season was fall. The leaves coming down, beautiful, burnt orange and all that. I'm a kid, we used to rake it, jump in leaves. I mean, great. But right when fall ended, starting by like right after Halloween, man, it started getting cold, and it was gonna stay cold until like April. And when you were a kid, it was fun playing in the snow, doing this, throwing snowballs, building snowmen. But as you got older and older, and you were a man, it just became a problem. You had to get up 40 minutes earlier to clean the ice off your car if you didn't have it in the garage. You had to shovel the driveway. You guys know what you had to do, man, before you had to go to work, and it was just a pain. Snow became a pain in the butt, and so I always said I got tired of shoveling snow. And so I got to get up out of here. I need somewhere warmer. And that's why I say 300 days of sun. It's chill. You wear shorts every day if you want. And it's great. It's great. And that helps with your mental health. People don't speak enough in the black community about mental health. That helps with your mental health. Just seeing the sun every day. They have their studies about, the notorious in Seattle for suicides because they have all those days of rain per year. And just with it being rainy and overcast, foggy and sloppy and all that, puddles everywhere, it messes with your mind. That's why everybody wants to go to a tropical place on vacation, like just to get away from that stuff. Like, man, I just want to see like blue water, sunny skies, sand. I want to see that for just a week or two and to get some rejuvenated, right? And then you can go back with a little bit of energy, but that don't last long. You know how that is. But in a place where you see sun all the time and you don't even feel the need to like go somewhere else where there's sun because you're already in a place where there's sun, right? So it's like we travel, but it's the same. You go somewhere it's sunny. It might be a little hotter here than it is there, but other than that, it's beautiful. It's beautiful weather every day, and that helps. That helps with your mental health, right? Because a lot of things people will talk about is get out there and get some sun, that vitamin D. Yes, indeed, from approximately $7 to $8. Oh my goodness. Oh man, that's a beatdown. And a lot of people like to eat avocados. I didn't like them before, and then once he started giving them to me, I said, "Oh, they're okay." For a bag, and a bag is like 4 or 5 at most avocados. So you get 4 or 5 avocados for $7 to $8. Wow! So they're making a killing on avocados. Man, that's outrageous. And I know people like to live. I know people like to eat avocados and make guacamoles and stuff like that. It's good for you. It's good for you. And so that could be an arbitrage, just getting healthier foods at a cheaper price, which keeps more money in your pocket. And so, and I got off the point. It was about $100,000 being some kind of number to reach for. And it depends on where you live because if it doesn't spend like $100,000, which the study says it does not in any spot have parity in the United States, then it's not really $100,000. And so then we can go into, but why is it not $100,000? Because of the dollar. Because the weakness of the dollar does not keep up with what do you call it, inflation. So now your 100,000 can't spend like it should. If the dollar kept up with inflation, just kept up with it, then you would spend 100,000. You get 100,000, it would spend 100,000. So this is why we have to have these things like Bitcoin, where you can keep your money to the side and instead of letting it dwindle down. Like if you had a savings account, right, you can get some number go up, interest on it. And also you can use precious metals as savings, as we talked about before, because it is money. Precious metals, gold and silver, are money, and they are wealth. So, and you can go back and overlay charts, and I do it from time to time just to see how bad it had really gotten. But you overlay a chart for, say, you overlay, I use silver. You overlay a silver chart from maybe 20 years ago over a dollar chart, and you see it's just an inverse correlation. As you see a parity, you see silver go up, 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 dollars going down, 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 down. And so you cannot keep up with inflation. They tell you inflation, what are they saying, 8 to 9%? But really, Michael Saylor, CEO of MicroStrategies, says he thinks it's more like 20 to 25%. And I believe him. I believe him because CPI is what they consider in the CPI, and they don't use certain things that go up high, like they don't use rent, right? Why wouldn't you use rent in the cost, the price index? I mean, people got to pay rent every month. So why wouldn't that be in there? If rent prices are going up exponentially, shouldn't you put that in the index and add that, because that would raise the CPI a lot higher? So people are really paying a lot higher. It depends on what you're buying. Regular people, you go buy whatever, eggs, bread, milk, things like that, and the price on that goes up, up, and up. Uh, Even here, the price on eggs has went up significantly, and you gotta, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's going up a lot, and there's certain things you see that are going up a lot. I just stay away from them. If something's going up too much, I won't buy it anymore. If it's not a necessity. But and then there's certain things that aren't going up, like here, the like beef, chicken, fish. Those prices are staying pretty flat. Even like I said, avocados, bananas, pineapples, watermelon, cantaloupe. What else? Apples, green apples. Green apples stay low. Red apples, they tax on red apples. But green apples stay low. I like the green apples better. The children like the green apples better. So we get the green apples instead. So yeah, you can see inflation everywhere. You can't keep up with inflation. For my people who have careers or have businesses and things like that. If you say you are an employee, you're not going to get a 20-25% raise every year. So if you just do the math, if inflation is 20%, we'll keep it there. That's a nice round number. And you get a 5% raise, which is considered by most a good raise, right? That's a decent raise, 5%. But here's the thing. So you get 5%, but you got 20%, right? So, and then do it one more time. You get 5%, you got 20%. So look how we're adding up. So now you got 10% over 2 years, but inflation is 40% over 2 years. So you can't keep up. And you could do it two more times. And you got 20%, but inflation then ran up 80%. And you can do it over and over and over. But this is why the money doesn't spend like you think it does, because the inflation goes up higher than any amount of raise you can get. Now, if you're in like have a business and you're getting more than 20% in revenue year over year, yeah, you're keeping up. 20%, you break there, you're keeping up. But so to actually beat inflation, you got to make big numbers like 25, 30% year over year. And that's hard to do at a job. That's hard to do with your business. But what you can do, and what is not hard to do year over year, is putting money in Bitcoin. Because if you go look at Bitcoin year over year, it well outpaces inflation. Last year, it was up 149%, which was like, even if we OG Bitcoiners, that's a light year, because some years it's a, 1,000-something%. But 149% way outpaced if you say 20%. And that's why, it's good to have Bitcoin. And not just to make money, but just the money that you worked hard for, to put it over there and let it grow, instead of having it maybe in a savings account and letting the money printing eat away at the value of your money. And that's what's happening day after day. I buy, let's see, most avocados. Hold on now. Pour back, yeah. Healthy living. Yep, you gotta say healthy living. Okay, what's up, man? Second shout out to the Simon Field. I'm sorry I missed the first one. I'm rolling dolo tonight, man. Usually, Aaron would have caught that. I'm having a hard time whistling and chewing gum at the same time, but stick with me, Mo. But shout out. I'm sorry, man. Man, how do you say your name? Hemoptosis. Okay, shout out to hemoptosis. Mm, interesting. And so, very interesting. So, oh yeah, but yeah, the money printing. I talked to our good brother Bitcoin Zay. We had him on the show not too long ago, and he was explaining how the Fed is printing about $30 trillion every 3 months. Um, Insane. That's insane. And your dollar cannot hold any value with that amount of money being poured into the system. So you have to have these strategies with your Bitcoin, with your precious metals, and things like that. I know a lot of people are. I know a lot of people are big into real estate. If you flip in real estate, have that ready. That so that your dollar doesn't just decline. I mean, like I said in this show before, and I laugh. Sometimes when I pop in and try to go into my Wells Fargo account, they always pop this thing up and say, "Would you like to start a savings account?" I'm like, no. Why would I start a savings account at Wells Fargo? It doesn't make any sense, right? But our good brother Ricardo Hamilton, shout out to him, says he thinks of precious metals as sort of a savings account. So, and he thinks of Bitcoin more of his investment. So, if he invested in Bitcoin and he got a lot of return, and he said, "Hey, maybe they take some profit, boom, and run it back into um, precious metals as safety." As safety, so it could grow, grow, grow. Because Bitcoin can be volatile. He at least got some of the profit and put it away in a safe place. But don't put it in your bank, of course. You know that. I'm sure you guys all know that, man. And but yeah, that was just I like to talk about my blue collar workers, man. Shout out to all my blue collar workers, man, all across the world because it's necessary to keep the world running. I mean, I'm just telling you, it's necessary. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, I would hope to think that, but I guess you're right that people don't understand. The more we print, the less it's worth. You go over there and you look at that. Which is it's M2 money supply chart. Yeah, you go look over there for years and years, and it stayed pretty flat. And then once the pandemic hit, like a little bump, and this is straight up money printing, straight up. That chart is straight up, and what we used to call a hockey stick. And it's just print money. There's no oversight. Nobody says, "Nah, you can't print any more money. This is it." No, this is we need more, and it's all printed, 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 and we all are a victim to it if we don't do something about it. And so that's why everybody, the Bitcoiners, are big on Bitcoin. It gives you freedom. Be your own bank. Uh, take your money out of take their money out of your supplies to take your fiat currency out of your supply, turn it into real money, which is Bitcoin, and watch it grow. It's just very, very low time preference. Low time preference, and you're gonna win. You're gonna win all day long. I mean, Bitcoin. I never came on here and banging on my chest and telling people to buy it when it was dropping to 16, because this isn't financial advice. And there was some indicators that it could drop lower than 16. So I didn't want to give anybody any bad advice, but I knew in my head, like, yeah, you grab it here because it's gonna go back up. And then people who just sat on it from 16 watch it go all the way back up to 73, 60. That's why we smile, I guess, if it's down. A lot of people on the chat get mad, like, oh man, it's down 69. I'm like, man, it's lovely. I'm loving it at 69. But yeah, low time preference on it, because you buy it today at 69, you had the low time preference 4 or 5 years, and that month could be anywhere. We got people predicting $1 million Bitcoin in 2030. So that lets you know the dollar be dead. It's got to be dead. I did. I told everyone that they didn't listen, but Jake ate good. Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, got to do it, man. It's right here. It felt a little scary because it was falling kind of hard. You're like, man, where's the bottom? And you found support, but I seen some retracements that still existed down there. I think at 9,700 and one at 4,500 or something. Some with gap fills were looking like on the CME chart. I believe, man, it's been a while since I looked at that thing. but I'm pretty sure it was on the futures chart. It was either futures chart or CME chart. Y'all correct me if you know what I'm talking about. But there's some gaps in the chart that Bitcoin likes to retrace and close that gap and then go back up. But there was this like a fatal gap. I thought at 97 and it was one at 45, and I said, oh man, technically it could retrace there, but 16 had support, and bang, it bounced off 16, and here we go running. We running good. So low time preference on this stuff, y'all. Low time preference is really, it's hard to pick the perfect time to buy. It's hard to pick the perfect time to sell. Uh, that's why dollar cost average, and it depends on. Some people are like Bitcoiners. They say I'll never sell their Bitcoin. Some people will take profits when they feel like they've gotten the profit that they want, and so it's different. Different strokes for different folks, but the overall message is make sure you're getting your Bitcoin. And if you can, man, I'm definitely get Bitcoin if you have family. I'm talking about like children, getting your Bitcoin there for them, getting them set up, getting them educated on Bitcoin. I go through YouTube sometimes, a lot of good videos to educate children. I mean, very, very to the point. They probably good to know what it is. So, good videos on YouTube for the beginning education. One moment, it was crazy as most of it. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yeah, you dump it back in the fiat and go, I don't know, pay the light bill. So, but at least you got more money than you had. But I know what you mean. In the perfect world, you could just keep it all until you're ready and to do something grand with it. But yeah, sometimes you got to dump it back in. Shoot, sometimes you got to dump it back in and go get some groceries. But at least you got more than you started with, right? And so it's better than had kept it in your checking account, is what I like to say. But yeah, sometimes you got to work it like that. I do keep a fluid Bitcoin wallet over there on Cash App. Is fluid because you could do just like T. Will and I said. If you had a nice little profit, you sell it back, and then you go buy whatever you need to buy. Take the kids to the mall or something silly. You know how it is. See, I learned technicals is called human emotions. So my emotions are stronger since I'm more into BTT. So I go off emotions. It works better than technicals for me. Oh, you go off your, like a gut feeling when you say emotions, or you talking about like you get hype, or you get hype, or you feel like it's on the run. Let's get some, or maybe both. It's maybe both. I usually I mean because I'll buy, but I usually will make a what would you call it? Like a buy outside of my dollar cost averaging tools. So if I see a spot, I'm like, yeah, listen, let me just go get some here. And I just pick a spot, and it usually works out. I mean, maybe it go down, but eventually it comes back up. Number go up, so and it's never a problem for me. I was always into the stock market, and that was so hard, man. And this is so much easier to even keep up with the stock market because you had to have technical analysis, but you had to have fundamental analysis. You had to know where the company was going, the foresight, the quarterly. Did they hit their mark and all this stuff? And it was a mess, and you didn't know what's going on in the background with CEOs and people selling off shares. And it was just too much to keep up with. When you got over here, I tell people Bitcoin has no counterparty risk. There's no CEO of Bitcoin that you got to worry about doing something silly, you know, saying something silly on Twitter and all that. So it's just what it is. And gold and silver don't have a counterparty risk either, unless you count JP Morgan Chase as a counterparty risk for all the spoofing and setting of the market of silver. That's the big counterparty risk, but it can't last forever. Oh, okay, that gut feeling. Yeah, man, that's what they tell you, and they always tell you go listen to your stomach, man. I got a book, really good book. I'm glad you brought that up, Jake. A good book called Your Second Brain, and it talks about your gut being your second brain and how it's connected, and all the different ways that. Man, it's been a while since I read it, but basically explaining, when you have a gut feeling, that is like a brain it's also like a brain intuition. And so, sometimes you gotta go with your gut. Like, man, I don't know about this. If you go somewhere and you're like, man, this I don't. You remember you remember back in the day, you might go somewhere and you're like, man, I don't know about this. I ain't feeling this spot. So you get up out of there. You get on up out of there. Like, yeah, I wasn't feeling it. And go with your gut. You always go with your gut. Second brain, yes, sir. But yeah, man, you get your Bitcoin. Don't let this money print beat you down, because it's beating down America, and a lot of people like T. Will and I said don't even know it. Like, then cats out here, like, I got to get a second job. I got to do this. I need more hours, right? And that's the thing. And I never did the show about time theft, but this is time theft as they print money, and you can't keep up with the amount of you can't keep up with the amount of inflation. They are stealing your time, right? You have to work harder and longer for less money. And people don't see it that way, because if you're still getting raised, you still might be making um, six figures, right? But you still like, man, I need more money, man. It don't feel like six figures. I don't know if you guys are familiar with a gentleman. His name is John Hope Bryant. He's a I guess he's what you would call a decamillionaire. And he's in real estate. He's got a lot of things. He teaches, he teaches financials, but he teaches like mindset things. John Hope Bryant, cool brother. I just seen him yesterday giving a speech, and he said 45%. Let me say that again: 45% of people who make $100,000 a year live paycheck to paycheck. So it's not a glamorous life. You think it's going to be, but if you're still living paycheck to paycheck on six figures, that's why I'm saying it doesn't spend like 100,000. It's just 45%. That's almost half. So he said, some crazy number, over 60% of Americans don't have $500 in emergency right now. Something happened right now. Boom. Can you get your hand on $500? He said 60% of people in the United States cannot. And these are staggering numbers. And so that's why you have to know that money printing is doing this to you, right? So it's nothing we could do about the money printing except fight against it using Bitcoin. And that's one of the best ways to fight against it. That's why a lot of people don't like it at the top level. They don't like the fact that you can get Bitcoin and exponentially raise your money. So, for example, I just read today. I read these articles all day. Sometimes I don't have nothing to do. The kids aren't in school because I homeschool them, but they're not doing any schoolwork right now. They're just kind of hanging out, running around, making a mess and making noise. I, I need to send them outside. And so I was reading these articles. I come across an article about El Salvador, President Bukele. And what they said is, from his initial investment in Bitcoin, his investment of his country's fiat currency, which is the US dollar. Uh, uh, El Salvador uses the US dollar. They had their own currency, but there was a coup overthrown back in the 90s. And I forget what it was called, but it got dissolved. And then they were forced to take on the US dollar. So they didn't have their own currency. And that's really, I can't really explain that. I don't know if I have the good word for it, but if you're your own country, you should have your own currency, right? So it's a little demoralizing that we have our own country, our own culture, our own language, our own foods and everything, but we got to use the US dollar. Like, we should have our own currency. So anyway, he made Bitcoin legal tender. And now, since his initial investment of when he bought it, he has made $81 million off his initial investment. When he did it, everybody said it was a bad idea, right? To take your country's treasury reserve assets, which is cash, and pour it into Bitcoin. That's a bad investment. Everybody said it's a bad investment. What's he doing? This, that, and third. And then here you go. What has it been? 3 years? 3 years later, he's up 81 million. So what does that say? All that says is, if he just left the money he had in treasury reserve asset as US dollars, the dollar would have declined. Right? And he would have had less money than he had when he started. But he was smart enough, and he could see in the future to let me go ahead and grab this Bitcoin, and now his country is better off for it. Look how much better off his country is for it. Safest country in the Western Hemisphere. And El Salvador used to be one of them places like, the U.S. Embassy would tell you don't travel there. It was dangerous. MS-13 was kind of running stuff. Had control of the police, a little bit of control of the government. So it was just a dangerous place to go, even though there's beautiful beaches, beautiful water. It was beautiful, it has beautiful things, but it wasn't good to go there. There was so many other places you could go to get a beach and all that. So he has really turned his country around and swept the crime, made the country $81 million, really outfitting it and making it Bitcoin friendly, more and more. When we went, it was Bitcoin friendly, but some stuff wasn't working. Some people didn't really know how to use it and, had problems with it. But now it's time and, training and things going on. A ton of Bitcoin ATMs, use Bitcoin, all restaurants, everything. And so it's really drawing in Bitcoiners. And I'm talking about large holders of Bitcoin, the Max Kaiser, Stacy Herbert, people are coming down there, making it their second home. Going to start pouring into the industry. Pretty soon, you're going to have those volcano bonds where they're going to mine Bitcoin off of geothermal energy. So just the heat that comes from the volcano, they will be able to mine it. They will be able to capture it and mine Bitcoin, and then give out volcano bonds, which will, it's like any other bond. It's just, it gives you a rate of return, whatever rate of return, fixed rate of return. And so they're doing that, and that's free Bitcoin mining. That's innovative to think we're going to mine off of geothermal energy. So he's really turned that country around, and what you're going to see down there, I want you to keep an eye on this, is the game theory that's going to come in. We're already seeing it. There's some talk of Suriname that they're going to make it Bitcoin friendly. That's what I heard. Bitcoin friendly was the term. We already got Honduras, Costa Rica's on it. So everybody's getting on it, because if you don't, you'll get left behind. Somebody got to be sitting in the, Max said the Bitcoin residency was $1 million. They only want the big dogs. This is true, but I read you. Did you guys get the second residency? I read. So they were giving out 5,000 residencies for what they call, I don't know, what do they call them? They want people like doctors, scientists, artists, and entrepreneurs. So they're trying to invite the middle class too. In that one, that was giving you a visa, for if you had those kind of professions and or businesses, because they need those kind of things as well. But yes, he did give those was the big dog ones, because he want the rich one. He gonna get them. So, but you can't run a country all on. It can't be top heavy. So you got to bring in some middle class, some working class. Otherwise, that thing will collapse too. So yeah, he offered 5,000 visas for people to come over. If you could check that out, I could pull it up, man. Man, I don't know. I'm not using my computer, so this is everything. She got a million tabs. Oh my goodness, I don't want to mess up any of her tabs, but let me just give me a second. But and I'll talk as I. So yes, he did 5,000, and he's really trying to bring the country around, and it's looking good. And maybe that whole area will follow suit. Where we talking about El Salvador, Honduras is there. Uh, you know, Costa Rica's already on it. Maybe Panama will jump on it. So because it's a good idea, because if you sit around and you get the numbers and you say, okay, this man bought Bitcoin and now he's up 81 million. Maybe we should do the same for our country. So you may see it. You probably see it from younger leaders. The old guard, they won't do it. They ain't into it like that. And they just sit on the Treasury Reserve asset, lining their own pockets, and that's what they do. But yeah, he really brought that up. So he's up that much. He looks like a genius now. When they said he was an idiot for doing it, so, and he turned around one of the worst countries in the world. Top 10, if you will. And now he's trying to make it like Dubai for the Western world, and he could get it there. He get those millionaires there, like you said, T. Will line, and they start pumping in capital. he'll turn that thing around with quickness, and it'll be like the go-to play. It'll be go-to spot in the Western Hemisphere, and that's pretty cool if he could pull that off. And the thing was, man, you should have get in early on it before it's impossible to get in on. Like you can't do nothing with Dubai, man. But if you when it was starting up, and you just like, hey man, maybe I should get a little property here or just land. And boom, it took about 25, 30 years, but that's a low time preference one too. It's gonna be like Singapore. He wants to be something like that. He has a vision. Um, some people, there's some rumblings out there that he may be a dictator. I don't know about that. I'd have to dig to it a little more, but there's been some rumblings, so I don't know. I might look into it, see it. I don't know how you could really quantify that if he was voted in and they still have, but I mean, maybe he just running it, with an iron fist and making sure everybody get up out there, man. If you ain't about some business and this, that, and third, you can't just be standing on the streets, sitting around. Ain't none of that. Ain't none of that. So yeah, that's a great place. Take your $100,000 a year and chill, make money and get more Bitcoin, buy more Bitcoin, see how and just stack it up. But yeah, and my blue collar workers, I got to get back to them too because I understand as a blue collar worker, you probably on site regard. You can't go nowhere, right? It's hard to find a remote blue worker college job unless you move up into management. Then maybe, but yeah, you still got to be on site. So you still got to have boots on the ground, putting in that hard work that we salute you for. So, even though you may have to do that, you can still get a piece of something like El Salvador, right? You could just, invest into it and maybe, go down there a week or two a year when you get your vacation and, make it, start building it out. Say, if you like it, man, this might be my second home and you start building on it, working on it. Like a lot of people, like I said, a lot of blue collar workers get great retirements. And you might retire, boom, I'm out of here. I'm out of here for 3 months a year, or something like that. So that's something that you can always say. I have some friends who still work as firefighters, and they're getting close to retirement, and they're looking to buy land in Belize to build their homes on. So as they get closer to retirement, they are just putting money aside and putting money into the country of Belize. That's where they chose. They like the weather and things like that. I think a lot of people a lot of people pick Belize because they speak English as well. But that's okay. As you get older, it's hard to learn a new language, I guess. Children learn it faster. My kids picked up on it real fast, and yeah, they picked up on it real fast, except for the 7 year old. But everybody else picked up on it. My oldest son is he's now a professor at the university, and he teaches English. So that's what he does, man. So I'm proud of him getting out there, man, and helping the community. Yes, sir. That's what they said. That's what they told me. They was like, you need to go ahead and get on it now. I said, no, I wasn't, a fan of Belize. I've been there. It's a nice place, but it wouldn't be a place that I would want to settle down in. But they really like it. So, if they really like it, so they trying to get on it now. And I said, yeah, good idea, man. And they found it like out towards the beach line, but I can't remember what the place is called. Well, I talked to them on FaceTime. They kind of showed me. It looked beautiful. It looked beautiful. And if you get some property right there, overlooking, it's like the beach and the sand. Man, you should do that. You should do that definitely. And but yeah, I heard that prices was going up, and that's the thing. Once the United States start coming around and prices start going up, like people still talk about Costa Rica. I said, man, it's got to be high. When we went there, and this was 2013, the price was just starting to creep. Because it took me a while to get to Costa Rica. I had probably been researching Costa Rica since '09, right? So I built up all the way till 13. But when I started in '09, prices was dirt cheap. And then by the time I was able to get there at 13, prices it crept on me, it crept on up on me. But I got there still at a good price. But we had a nice house. I don't know, it was nice. It was a house we had, but we lived in the jungle. It was crazy. We lived in the jungle in this big house. It was a three bedroom, three bath house. and with a kitchen and all that stuff. But then we had a pool house. It is a 2 bedroom pool house, right? Is that right? 2 bedroom pool house, and then we had a nice pool, a big yard, a lot of land, a lot of acres, and it's cost $700 back then. So, but that was back then, man. I don't know. I know another thing costs a whole bunch more now. But yeah, man, that's it, man. Belize property is skyrocketing, and then I look into some other places just to see what they're doing. I'm back in 2016. You could get a real, uh, let me excuse me, a new built condo in Medellin, Colombia, starting at 20,000 for 1 bedroom, and that's when I was looking like, oh, I could grab one of these, put it on Airbnb, and and then I just Bitcoin just caught me more. Like, man, I should just run this money into Bitcoin because I don't want to have to try to manage this property from here and Medellin and all this stuff. It seemed like it's gonna be a headache, and I wasn't gonna move to Medellin because I still had kids. I don't know. It's a nice place, but I don't know. I had young kids. I didn't necessarily want to grow up in Medellin because, like I said, these places typically don't have suburbs. So you're in the city or you're in rural areas. And so you like kind of got to pick. Yeah, pick what you want to do. City, you're gonna pay more. Rural, you're gonna pay less, but then you're gonna have more headaches with some things. Um, Main one being Wi-Fi, especially if you work remotely, you need that. Yeah, strong Wi-Fi. You get out some of these remote places, man. Wi-Fi is so shaky. The power cuts out all the time. You just be in the middle of something and it just go black, and for no reason. Clear, beautiful sky, no reason for the power to go out. It's just like what? It's not even like a storm. You're like, I get it. It's just out, and then it'll come back in about 5 minutes. But you know how that is, man. You got to restart the router. You got to wait a few minutes for the computer to start and all that stuff. And you could have been in the middle of something important. You could have been in the middle of a meeting or something like that. And so you need that strong Wi-Fi. So that's always a choice and trade-off. You could pay more if you need the Wi-Fi. You got to pay a little bit more, or if you're not dependent on the Wi-Fi, like maybe say you were retired and you had a pension and you didn't necessarily have to work from home, and then you can take a chance being rural. You can do that. So those are all options, man. There's options for all you people out there who make money, putting money away. Got Bitcoin, got silver, got gold. The United States is United States is going down, and it's good to have a spot prepared that you may need to, like, man, I need to just go over here for a little bit because things are getting a little rough. So think about that. That's part five flag there. You want to have something set aside. You don't want to let one place have control over everything that you have. So keep that in mind. It's a theory. It's a theory. You have to put the theory into action, and it's harder. It's a lot harder than as the theory reads because you got to do a lot of research. You got boots on the ground. You got to do. And if you're going to go to a place that doesn't speak, you're not a native speaker of, then you have to really get more people involved. Interpreters. So you got to get lawyers involved. You got to get all kind of people involved just to make sure that everything goes smooth. And one thing I want to tell people too, man, when they come to these countries, oh, give me one moment. I'm a little thirsty, man. Let me drink some water. I get parched sometimes. It's been kind of dry and arid last few days. Had the windows open because of a nice breeze, but get a little dusty in here. So one thing you got to know when you come to these other countries, real estate and renting leases and stuff is not like the United States. And too many people come over here thinking you have the same rights that you would in the United States when you sign a lease, right? You got to really get a lawyer involved when you sign a lease. It's not like the United States. You got to get a real estate lawyer involved, read over that lease, make sure everything is as it says, and so there'd be no surprises. And it was a story on one of these it's one of these things on Facebook. It's like a group. It's an expat group, a Mexican expat group. And there was a woman who told a story, a black lady, who she got this apartment and she was gonna pay $1,000 a month for it. And something happened. She was there for a few months. Something happened with her trying to get some money wired to her, or something. She's trying to get it from a different account, switch it, boom. It's going to take 3 to 5 business days, right? When it's time to pay the rent. So the it didn't come, the day of the rent, he didn't get his rent, and she explained it to him, but he came over, very violently, and telling her if he don't get, she gives money right now, she got to go. It's just like kicking, ready to kick her out, and she kept saying, "But the money's gonna be here. It's just need 3 to 5." And he didn't care, and all this stuff, and she didn't have she didn't have a genuine lease that she got. She just made a lease between him and her, but she didn't have it like looked over by a lawyer, and I guess by Mexican law you can't do that, right? So always be understanding of that. That's why I say if you come to these countries, I like to use Airbnb to start because you don't have to deal with that. And then if you get more comfortable, an area, and then you can get a real lease. But Airbnb helps in that fact that you don't have to worry about no matter what country you're going through the Airbnb rules, and the Airbnb host has to abide by those rules, and that helps because if you have any problem with the host, you just go to Airbnb and they will fix the problem. They will handle it. And we've had a couple problems through Airbnb, and you just go through Airbnb, and they'll take care of it. People do weird stuff. Some of the hosts, they do weird things like you're not supposed to pay for any of the utilities, but sometimes they'll ask you to pay for it. Like, hey, can you pay for it? And it won't be too much. The guy used to ask me to pay for it, and I wasn't tripping on it because this back in Cuernavaca, we had a nice 4-bedroom condo, man. It was nice, it was beautiful, overlooking the golf course or the pool. That's what I'm saying. Y'all got to get down here, man. It's beautiful, sun every day, and he was asking me to pay the utility bill, and so I wasn't tripping because they had the big wall unit air conditioners in each bedroom. It got really hot, and so some days you just go in the bedroom, close the door, turn the air on, and you had to, man, because it was just so hot out there. But there was no air conditioning like in the living room, dining room, kitchen, and all that stuff. So you go in there, shut the door, turn the air on. Even at night, you let to sleep with the air on. Sometimes the kids sleep with the air on, and so his bill will be elevated more than usual. And so I said, "Yeah, I'll pay for it since I'm using it." And so just doing a favor. I wasn't, trying to, make him pay for it. It was super high, but I would pay for it. But anyway, that's illegal on the Airbnb platform. And he ended up getting kicked off the platform. And once he got kicked off the platform, we couldn't live there anymore because it wasn't on the platform anymore. It was stupid. It was stupid. We lived there for about a year. It was stupid though. I didn't know me paying was going to get him kicked off the platform. But he knew. He knew as the host that he shouldn't be doing that, but he thought he could just get away with it. I didn't tell on him. I don't know how they found out, but you know, they did, and so yeah, it's all kind of it's always going to be an adventure when you get out here to these other places, man. But that's good though. It's good, man. It's good for your personal development. These adventures because you go back and look at them and you be like, man, that was crazy. That was crazy. When you're going through it, it was a headache, but you kind of laugh at it when you look back on it and all of that. But the good thing is, and what happened was we stayed there 12 months and we paid rent for 12 months. And because he made me pay his utility bill and they kicked him off the platform, Airbnb gave us back all 12 months of our rent. It's crazy. Gave us all 12 months back like this was an illegal stay. And I was like, oh, that was a nice lick out of nowhere. But conversely, we had to move real quick, which is, I hate that. We had to move real quick, but it worked out in our favor. It worked out in our favor. This is about 5-6 years ago. It worked out in our favor because we found the spot that we're at now, and we've been here, and the kids love it. Everybody love it. And that's good, man. It might take you a while to find the exact spot you want to post up in, but y'all ever going to Costa Rica, Costa Chica to see the Afro Mexicans? Oh, I got you. I thought you think Costa Rica. I was okay. I'm sorry. Costa Chica. Yeah, Costa Chica down there in Oaxaca. Yeah, we got a friend down there who stays. He's been living there for about 3-4 years, and he really likes it. I would like to go down there. I would like to go down there. It is as I've been told, it's kind of, as far as me, I don't like to fly and stuff, but as far as me, it's been told that it's a no go as a drive. So a lot of cartel posting up, man, on the highways and stuff, man, making barricades, they robbing people, taking people's cars and stuff like that. And so I would like to go. I think it's a little bit of a dangerous trip for me and the family right now, But I would like to go because I mean I watch videos about him and see he posts videos and stuff, and I would really like to see him. But man, I don't think I make the trip yet. It's a little sick because once you start driving west, because Oaxaca is you got to go through the state of Oaxaca is the state is Oaxaca, but you got to go through Guerrero, which is a dangerous state. And that's the dangerous part of the drive because it's the outside part of Guerrero in the western part of Mexico, not all the way out to Acapulco, because Acapulco is on the coastline. But you're going through this area, and it's like it's got a heavy presence of cartel, and it's just a dangerous drive. Even I talked to my neighbor. He's pretty savvy. He knows stuff, and he said he would advise against it. So, you know, T. Willine, I gotta go like Jake Fever with my gut on that one and say, man, I don't think I should roll out there with the family. I don't think so. I don't think I should. I really would. I would like to do it for the culture, but I gotta wait for it to cool down over there in Guerrero, man, because there's no other way to get there but by going through Guerrero. And you want to stay away from them, some of them western states out there, Sinaloa and all that, Baja California, man. Those places are dangerous, especially if you're not supposed to be there and you stick out like a sore thumb. They're dangerous. They're dangerous. And a lot of people over there. Just 2 weeks ago, 18 people got killed over there in what's that place called? 18 people got killed, and there you go in 2 days in Zacatecas. And so it's dangerous out there, man. It's dangerous, and and also it's bad because my plates say I'm from the state of Mexico, Estado de Mexico, and you start getting in another place, and your plates say you're from somewhere else. They already know you. You know what I'm saying? You're somewhere you shouldn't be here, and so they'll shake you down, and if not, take your vehicle. You know, if not, do more. So yeah, I can't go out there yet, not yet, but it is a place that it should be visited. If you could fly in there, I don't even know. You can't. What would be the city you could fly into? Oaxaca City, maybe. I don't know. I have to look at the map again because I don't want you to have to fly in Acapulco and then drive down because Acapulco is not great either. That whole west is shaky, man. It's shaky out there. That's why you got to stay closer to the seat of government. It's a little more. It's safer because they won't let you just run rampant, run roughshod around. Mexico City because Mexico City is a big. It's a big financial city in the Western Hemisphere. So they keep Mexico City tight. Any cops running around, you can't do nothing. You can't do nothing down there. Not close to the nice place. Some of them shaky neighborhoods. Yeah, things happen. But yeah, man, I just want to talk about that a little bit, man. Shout out to the blue collars. Shout out to $100,000 makers too. Um, but 100,000 ain't always what it seems. And then you get on to it, 100,000. I mean, we can go a little bit deeper if you got the time, or y'all tell me to shut up. I don't know, but you make $100,000 at the start now. If you make $100,000 at a single rate, okay, y'all know what the IRS gonna do to you. 100 grand at a single rate, man, they gonna tear you up. They gonna tear you up and depend on what state you're in. Okay, say you're a couple and each one of you make 100,000. Either you file separate or say you file together because you're married. Now you make $200,000 as a married couple. They're gonna tear you up, right? So you don't even have no dependents. Do you own a home? These things is where the 100,000 it gets eaten up. It gets eaten up. You got to figure out a way to not pay so many taxes, right? I told people if you have the opportunity to max out your 401k, the maximum is $20,000 contribution per year. 23. 23, and so that takes your taxable income down to $77,000, right? So it gets you from being taxed at that rate, especially if you're single. So 100,000, it means a few different things, right? So always keep that in consideration, because 100,000 and you got a wife and 4 kids, that means different things. At least you got some dependents, to take away from that tax burden. But if you got a wife and 4 kids, typically in America, you can't afford to max out your 401k, right? You need that 23,000 over the course of the year. So it's not, you don't have the option of bringing your taxable rate, taxable income down. Let me get it right. So yeah, $100,000 ain't always what it seems. There was a rap song. It ain't always what it seems. And so it's a number that you can throw out there to look cool and tell a girl or something that you meet. You got your little suit on and stuff like that, and you look important. Like you might be important at work, but you go home to that 1 bedroom apartment, man, and you know that's what it is, man. That's what it is, though. So don't get caught up on that number. Please don't get caught up on that number, especially since they're saying it's the women getting caught up on the fact they need somebody to make at least $100,000. And then they broke down the stats of how many people make this, how many people make that, and it's tough, man. It's tough out here. It's getting really tough, and so we got to make sure that we are prepared. We're prepared for the hit, and 2030, man. Everybody talking about 2030 like it's about to go down, like it's about to get real bad. So that gives us about 6 years. 6 years. I watched a good video named Raoul Powell. He's a great economist. He does macroeconomics. And he talks about you got about 6 years to make money. He's talking about 2024 to 2030. And he said, man, it might be an apocalypse coming. So we gotta make sure that we're prepared for that. I think I'm trying to be prepared, but you never know if you are going to be prepared. So yeah, man, I ain't got nothing too much else, man. I'm just freestyling tonight. My beautiful wife wasn't with me, but I figured I'd pop in and see what everybody was doing, and just talk to the fam for a little bit. Great chat, man. Appreciate you guys in the chat, man. You guys are great. Uh, Shout out to everybody who was in the chat. Here we go. 2023 is the new 2000. Which calendar do we not look out for? To look out for? You say do not look out for 2020, 2030. If I'm reading that right. Whose calendar do we need to look out for? Well, that's a good question. But the only thing that I could do is try to prepare myself. I remember 2000. I remember 2000, man, and you got it. People was preparing themselves like crazy, man. They were stocking up all the what is them cats called, man? They got everything, the guns and all that, and nothing happened. Nothing happened specifically at that moment, and I remember that because I was working in a hospital night shift, and we had all these precautions. It was December 31st, 1999. We had all these precautions, for the patients and stuff like that. We had to have everybody backed up on generators who had certain machines, and we had to have all these emergency outlets. We had to have everything. We had to switch up everything for the whole night. And then we just waited. We had to have the computers set up, and we had to have all this paperwork out in case we couldn't use the computers for documentation. It was a headache. And then it got to midnight and nothing happened. And we just like looking at each other like, all right, let's go back to work as usual. And that was that. But yeah, I don't know about the Mayan calendar, man. I know about the Mayan calendar, but I don't know how to use it on the overlay to our calendar to pick up days. I understand Mayan calendar. Um, 2012 was shifted off to what 2012, because remember 2012 was supposed to be something big, but it was shifted on the Mayan calendar, and it was really a different year. Can't remember what the shift was. They helped me out with that one, but it was shifted off. 2012 was really something else. So I don't know. Thank you, Let Them Freedom Ring. Thank you. I tried, man. I was a little nervous by myself. I didn't know what to do, so I just went off the dome. I got I got a couple better shows once she comes back, because we can both go in on it. But yeah, I just came to talk, man, see what was going on. And yeah, yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen to you, Willine. All I can do is I'm gonna stack, but I'm gonna get my other stuff ready too, man. You gotta get your canned goods ready. You get your bug out bags, man. You get your I like to get like the survival kit, outside survival kits, and get everybody their weapons, their axes and stuff like that, knives, all that. You can't have guns in Mexico. It comes with a heavy price. So no need to have a gun. I think it's automatic 10 years if caught with a gun. So no need to have a gun. I don't want to do a dime in Mexican prison, man. Come on now. Who wants to do that? But I heard you can have conjugal visits in a Mexican prison. So, you take the good with the bad. But no, I don't want to do a dime for a weapon, man. So, but I do got. I'm not for a gun, but I do have weapons, and you got to keep your weapon in the grade of something like that you can use to work with. Like an axe. But yeah, I use that to chop my wood and stuff like that. I got a couple knives in my survivor kit, so it's like I use this for fishing and all that. Because they'll take a look at your weapon and try to say you got a weapon, and I say nah, this is for this is for that. So you got to one step of the game because the police, but yeah, I just prepare, and then see what happens. And hopefully, I'm prepared enough, But I will stay preparing. And, yeah, that's it, man. Thank you for that, man. I was trying to drop some gems, man. I was by myself. And I didn't have nothing to do but just talk. But yeah, you guys, man, you guys are great. I'm gonna go ahead and I guess I got to sign off and play with the little baby. He got all these little toys in my room, so I don't know. But man, I guess we'll see you probably. I'm thinking Saturday. Her voice is pretty down, and Ethereum. Oh, I wish I had more Ethereum tomorrow. Gonna be. Oh yeah, tomorrow is gonna be a big day. Yeah, I got some Ethereum, man. I gotta get it back from BlockFi, maybe. But I got some other Ethereum. So yeah, it's gonna be a big day, man. Happy day for us Ethereum holders. But yeah, I'll try to get it back on Saturday. Her voice should be better. No, you never know though. You never know. It's been a long time already, but we've been taking care of it. But guys, thank you for tuning in. And this was fun. It was interesting if nothing else, because it's not something I usually do. But like my beautiful wife would say, Mamba out.